Cheers! Happy December, right? It's the second podcast of December, but the first one for our book today. You got it? You got your glass?
So fancy.
Cheers!
Cheers!
All right, guys. Welcome and happy holidays to you all.
Kristen, what is it that we're drinking?
Oh my gosh, this is delicious. Thank you, Danny. This is so good. This is a Boulevardiers.
Ooh,
so our feature spirit, a big thanks to our good friends Sarah and Sean. Hi guys, up in Columbus, Ohio. They introduced us to the High Bank Distillery when we went up to Columbus for their wedding this past year. And we had incredible cocktails and food at the High Bank Distillery. It was so nice. Yeah. Well, Columbus, Ohio supports local in a big way. There's so many amazing restaurants and shops and things like that. It's amazing. Breweries and distilleries.
Breweries
yes.
too. I love it. They have a brewery and a grocery store. I thought it was a fantastic idea.
Right?
Yeah.
The town loves to drink, they love to eat, and they love to support just anything local. So they took us to the High Bank Distillery, and Sean and Kevin, who especially love whiskeys, bourbons, tried the Whisky Wars here. This particular one has won gold and platinum and best in class for the last 3 years.
Congratulations, High Bank.
Yeah. So anyways, we're enjoying that as a Boulevardier, which has, I believe, Aperol and sweet vermouth and, of course, the bourbon.
Bourbon!
Woo! Which is perfect for the winter, right?
That's great.
Yes.
Cheers again.
Cheers. Cheers, guys.
I don't know why this glass is so small.
So we make it through the episode.
It's not going to make it through the episode, Danny.
So you picked out a book that I am loving.
I'm so glad you like it.
Oh my gosh.
It impacted me as well. So I think one of the reasons why I suggested the book that we're actually reading is Atomic Habits by James Clear. And one of the things that impacted me about this book, and so as you can make out, it's about changing habits and, getting you where you want to be. I mean, that's the gist of most habit self-improvement books, right? But what really makes this one stand out is that it focuses more on your identity. And so I felt like suggesting it for December was impactful because, at December time, we're reaching that time where we're reflecting back on our year or coming to a close or sitting back and enjoying or not enjoying family time. It really depends, right? But I'm enjoying it, guys. I love you. I love you, my kids. Okay.
No, but you hear the stories, right?
You do.
And you see the movies, right? Yeah. So, or maybe you're with the family you choose, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a time of gathering.
It is a time of gathering. I'm not going to lie. There's been a few times I want to pull a Christmas with the Cranks. Have you guys ever seen that movie? However, I'm here for Christmas. And this book really was just kind of like you're coming to an end. You're doing some self-reflection. And at this point, some people are either really happy with what happened throughout the year, or some of them are thinking there are things they want to change about themselves or their current circumstances. And this book was a great way of rounding off the end of the year so you can reflect inwards.
Yep. And what I loved it especially is coming off of what we read in November, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
That focused a lot just on kind of the emotional aspects of things.
Yeah.
So this was nice to take he says that he approaches it biologically, neuroscientific, there's just the science side of habits, which truly get into mindsets and identity, like you said, and we'll dig into. But that's, I think, what I'm really enjoying so far with this book. I mean, I really only got to the introduction. That's why that's all we're doing today. But so phenomenal. And I mean, talk about getting, slapped in the face, no pun intended, with how this book starts. I mean, the poor kid is a baseball player. James was a baseball player in high school, and a baseball bat flung out of the batter's hand and smacked him in the face, right in the nose.
Yeah, but not like a little tap, you get a black eye. Poor guy comes out with a concussion, He ends up in the hospital forgetting people's names and stuff like that.
Crazy.
Can't remember all the questions I asked him, but he really fumbled through them, and he had a concussion, you know? And so,
dangerous, too.
Yeah, very dangerous.
Yeah. And he had to basically relearn how to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I think that recovery process began his dive into habits, right? And just how little habits add up.
Yeah, over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Add up over time to make huge differences. You know, I think a lot of times it's one of the things about, you always look at someone, you see only the successful things that they've done, you know, the light bulb that was invented, you know what I mean? Or the car that was invented. And yes, those are monumentous. Blah, blah, blah. Yes.
We did just start. We just took our first sip of
drink. I can only imagine what's going to happen later, folks. Okay.
It's bourbon. It hits me harder too, usually.
Does it really?
Oh, yeah. This will be a fun episode.
So, you know, you tend to only look at these big, huge things that happen, but every big, huge thing had small little things that happened prior to make it explode.
Right.
You know, and so like the same thing for him. He had to go through therapy and stuff to kind of recover. And so there were little things that he had to do in order to recover. But the end goal and the big monumentous thing is he recovered.
He recovered, and he ended up going to Denison University, and he said his awareness of habit forming started there, because instead of him being the traditional college kid, if you will, he wanted to get back into sports, but he was barely getting recognized. I mean, his body went through a trauma, right? Yeah. So he was not the player he was in high school. So he had to make sure he made it to the gym regularly and push himself harder, right? He had to add weights and bulk up. He even went through, he said something in his storyline that he just chose to keep his dorm room clean and neat, you know, just those little tiny habits and decisions he made every day, then awarded him, I think, Athlete of the Year and a presidential medal when he graduated. I mean, huge. And then, I mean, he didn't go on to play professional baseball, but to get recognized as that, and then just be able to do what you want with your life from there. It was huge.
Yeah, exactly. Just to say you did it. Shoot. Yeah. Well, good for him.
Right? Well, and the other thing I like is how he expressed how his writing career launched. He didn't wake up one day and say, "Oh, I'm going to be a writer."
Yeah.
No, it was the little things that he did because he was studying habits. So what did he say? He wrote articles daily. Twice a week, I think it was. And his email following grew and grew until then he had a book deal, and it just evolved, but it took time, right? You don't wake up one morning. I mean, you can wake up one morning with the identity and say, I am a writer, right? Which he gets into, right? But becoming that successful writer took time, and it was the habits. It was his articles twice a week. It was getting the emails out consistently. It was those daily habits.
Yeah.
That built the success for him. So, there's the dog. Shake, 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 shake.
Small little habits.
Small little habits. Yes, absolutely. And then, what? Oh no.
It went so quick. Guys, we're going to have to go on short break. Danny.
All right, and we're back. All right, look at that magic. The drink reappears. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate it.
Hey, where's my cherry?
Did you eat it already?
Oh, are you only supposed to get one?
Well, no. Those are so good, the brandy cherries.
Good.
Oh, my gosh. Here it comes. Bring us the brandy cherry.
Thank you.
Magic. Love it.
Sorry, we're back.
Oh, my goodness. So what else I appreciate, as a writer, he brings in all these circumstances that really help you understand how important little habits, little details are. And his launch of shifting the 1%.
Oh, yeah. I love that. What did he say? 1% every day gives 37. Wait, I'm messing it up already. 1% of doing better every day equals 37% over the course of the year. Bettering yourself. Imagine that. But if you go the opposite direction, if you decide not to get better, or you decide to do 1% less or worse or something every day over the course of the year, you actually almost get back to
slide that
to zero.
Yeah, absolutely. And he gave the example of the British cycling team, because they had competed for decades and never won a single medal, never won the Tour de France, everything like that.
Yeah.
And they got this new coach or CEO, whatever it is, of sport teams. Yeah. Tell I'm a diehard sports fan. Anyways, but this man comes in and he attempts to just improve every little thing just a tiny bit. So he made their seats a little better. He made their routine a little better, their diet a little better.
You know what got me? That one. So I remember that one too, right? And that one, he actually got down to the lycra in their uniforms. In the uniform.
That wouldn't chafe.
Yeah, it was really cool about it. So he was an out-of-the-box thinker as well, right? Because everyone was kind of tackling the same thing. Oh, muscles.
Endurance training.
Endurance, yeah. Everyone was kind of doing the same type of training and coaching. Mm-hmm. He went outside of the box and he said, why aren't we looking at the blind spots? Let's take a look at the blind spots of things that people are not, the overlooked items of things. So that's really cool because he was out of a box thinking, creatively thinking. And then he said, let's tackle the things that no one's really looking at. Hey, there's newer technology in fabric. Let's look at this newer technology that reduces the heat resistance, right? Maybe it'll help them perform better. Let's look at,
the seats, the tires,
all of the equipment itself. And so everything he did, it was just little changes, right? Changing the tires, increased it by this much. The seat increased by this much, 1%. And so what happened?
They won like 6 gold medals, and one of the cyclists won the Tour de France.
See?
So, and it didn't happen overnight. Like he didn't come in, and that next season, I think in the book, it was a couple years.
Yeah.
But anything that's worth doing is worth fighting for, right? Worth fighting for, whatever the cliche is.
I don't know it either, but over time they got it. Yeah,
exactly. So I think what I really appreciate then is he basically starts the book calling you out. Like if something is lagging in your life, it's your habits, So he says if you're frustrated with the fact that your house is always messy or cluttered, well, it's not the habit of cleaning it; it's the habit of staying organized and picked up, right? It's
putting things
back right away. Yeah. So putting your dish right into the dishwasher versus leaving it on the table for 3 days. Yeah. Hanging your towel up off the bathroom floor instead of just leaving it on a heap, right? Yeah, exactly. It's little things like that can change, right? And then he even talks about your eating habits. If you personally are frustrated, and I understand that, everybody has different weight challenges for different reasons. Sometimes it is diet, focus. So for those that it is, bourbon, decisions that you make in your eating habits and your routine with that. So it's basically saying, you get the chance to make decisions daily.
But building off of that, what I really like is it's accountability, right? Because it's so easy, to thankful. Start with why. There's a common thread here. Mm-hmm. Accountability. It's self-accountability, right? Be accountable. So you are exactly where you are from the choices that you've made and the things that you've decided to be or not to be, And so when we talk about weight, I know there's medical issues and stuff like that, but people have the choice of going to the doctor to find out what that root cause is.
It's true. Yeah.
You see, and so some things may seem out of your control, but making the excuses for them is an excuse at the end.
Right.
That's it. Excuse-itis. You're making these excuses for yourself, but you can always decide to get yourself out of these or do something about it. And so everything here, the habits, no one else can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself.
Make the decision for yourself. Yep. Yeah. And take the small steps. And what I love that I could see that he does, I like to read the chapter outline. So I know the next few podcasts that we'll go over address each of these laws that he comes up with, on how to change a habit, or how to break a bad habit.
Yeah.
Right. And because he recognizes that there's really 4 steps into everything part of that.
I feel like it's always 4 steps. 4 or 7 steps, right?
It's a
thing, right?
But it's something we can wrap our head around, right?
Yeah.
A process that we can, this makes sense. We can connect the dots with that. But he brought up something that I understood was really important. And I'm going to go back, I like to talk about Mr. Nightingale. I like to talk about Mr. Jim Rohn. I think it was a Jim Rohn video I was watching. And he talks about why do people do things that don't benefit them? Like, why do they make bad decisions? And he says, basically, you get instant gratification. You get rewarded for choosing a bag of chips.
You get that hit.
It's true though, right? Yeah. Right? You feel good when you just stay in bed and watch, something on the TV or a movie instead of going to the gym. Yeah. You feel good when you get home and just plop on the couch and play video games instead of going to the gym. You feel good when you have a bag of chips instead of cooking up broccoli or something like that. And it feels good. So we get rewarded in the moment.
Oh, like any good drug. What happens? You liking everything you're feeling, right? Feeling great, a hit, and then what ends up happening?
It snowballs and you feel you're out of control.
Yep.
Unhealthy habits, things like that. You suddenly ask, like, well, what's happened?
Yeah.
But both what Jim Rohn said on his speech that I was talking about and what James Clear says in this book is sometimes why people give up the good habits is they don't see the result right away, right? He talks about the critical threshold, I think is what James calls it, right? Where, you go to the gym for 2 weeks straight, but your body's no different. You start eating healthy. That you see. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? And he has this graph where basically he's talking about, what our expectations are versus what lands up happening. And oftentimes what lands up happening, if we stick to those good habits with the bell curve, we end up superseding what we even imagine could have happened. Yeah. But we just a lot of times give up because we don't see those results right away.
And it's true. I think, if I'm not mistaken, in this book, he talks about, some of the best things that happen, those incremental things are happening sub-level. Mm-hmm. We don't see it happening, but the moment it decides, like the bell curve, to take off, it happens at such an exponential rate that everyone, yourself included, sees. And, it's kind of like what I was just talking about. You only see the big things that happen, the car being made or, discovery of the light bulb, all this other stuff, right?
Yeah, you see when it comes out and it's available. You don't see the failures. Yes. Well, not failures, opportunities to improve, lessons. Right, but you don't see what happens behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden something hits the market as this amazing creation, and we're like,
but there's a lot of trial and errors.
And a lot of frustration.
Yeah.
And a lot of not giving up, tears, right? Questioning, am I good enough? Is this right?
Yeah.
All of that.
I can just imagine just like someone going to the gym. Listen, trust me, guys, I'm not the one to sit there and give any type of gym advice, but I love me. And part I do see is that if you're going and you're getting frustrated that you're not seeing the results automatically, that is true. You just want to quit.
Yeah.
Because you're not,
why bother?
Why bother? It's me. It's, I just, it's not for me. I'm not going to deal with it anymore. I'd rather just do this. This makes me happy. And then you stop, right? But it's like that perseverance level, just little by little. Keep going. Even if you're not seeing it right away, keep going. Did you know bamboo can be under the ground for 9 years?
Yes. I didn't know how long. And then all of a sudden it just shoots up, right?
It shoots up. Yeah. I love the ice cube thing that he talked about.
Yes.
Oh, that's the next one.
Yeah, that was the next. Yeah. That an ice cube will sit happy as can be as an ice cube. From 20 degrees, 21 degrees, 22. Like, we keep raising the temperature, and the ice cube is happy as can be.
Yeah, it's solid form just right there. Doing great. But what happens at 32 degrees, guys? Yeah. It starts to melt, and you start to see the physical change in that ice cube.
Right. So, but it takes time, right? And even though you're changing something, the ice cube isn't showing the results of that yet. So, I love that you gave the analogy of just personally for the gym, because, me, a few months ago, I sat out on a quest. I called it my 30-30-30. I was going to meditate and work out. And, I have these financial goals that I want to meet for my family, for future and stuff like that. And I had this 30-30-30 goal where I was going to do all these things, and then boom. And on my third month of my 30-30-30, which was all my big thing, I didn't notice a huge change in my body yet. The money isn't in the account that I want for it yet. So I had to check my mind. And this book came at such a good time because I started reading this just as I hit my third month of my 30-30-30. And then I had to go back and I had to remember, I was like, you know what? I am more flexible now, right? When I'm moving boxes at work and things like that. I can do it with ease.
You can bend at the hip.
I can touch the floor, right? And I'm building strength.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that over time I will see the physical results, but I'm also keeping in control of my mindset and everything like that. So I had to check myself because I had one of those moments where I just thought this magical curtain would open and birds and butterflies and that doesn't happen. Like I haven't crossed my critical threshold yet.
Yeah.
As I wanted all those birds and butterflies and everything, but what I realized happened is I was building my mental endurance by, continuing to meditate and everything like that, building my physical endurance. I'm more flexible, I'm stronger, and I'm working towards my goals, and that's okay. I haven't crossed my critical threshold yet. And I think this book was well placed for where I needed it, where I was in my life. So thank you for recommending that. But I wonder how many of us have been there or are there, right?
Oh, and everyone will go through that at one point in time. It doesn't, having read this book years ago and having the knowledge doesn't mean that I didn't suffer through having certain thoughts that did not serve me. I still did, We all can fall into that trap, you know, but it's just a matter of, the great thing is now you know it, so you can't unknow it, right? So it's just catching yourself. So you can have these thoughts all the time, but as long as you catch it and you say, no,
that's not, like you said, you're going to serve me, right?
They have to serve you. So, building on that, I actually did this thing years ago where I said, you know what, I want to gain flexibility, right? And it's just because I was having back pains. I sit at a computer a lot, so I was having back pains. I was done. I was like, I want to be able to touch my toes, right? So it's just a matter of every morning I woke up and just said, I'm going to touch my toes. I don't touch my toes. I still do it. Till today, I still go bend down and touch my toes. Even though I can touch my toes, I still do it every single morning. And it just, the knowing that I've done it, but it's also a habit. I created a habit. But did it change my body anyway? Like physically? I don't think so. I don't see it. I wake up in this body every day and it still looks the same as it did 6 years ago. I guess that's a good thing, right?
It's a great thing.
But I do it now because it's become a habit, but also the mindset was bending down and touch my toes was to gain flexibility. But now I find that just getting up, bending down, touch my toes feels like I at least accomplished something today that helped with my physical self.
Yes.
And so that's the part where I said, changing that mindset of, even if at one point in time I'm 60 years old and I bend down, I can't touch my toes anymore, at least I tried.
I think you're going to be able to, because it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? He talks about your identity. Like he talks about why people really struggle to break habits. And I love this. Like, he talks about someone who's trying to stop smoking, right?
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
They're outside on a quick break, just getting some fresh air, checking emails on their phone, and somebody offers them a cigarette. And you can say one of two things if you're trying to stop smoking, right? You can say, no, thanks, I'm trying to stop smoking. Or you can adjust your identity and say, no, thanks, I'm not a smoker.
Yeah.
Even though that craving is, you're looking at that cigarette or you're looking at that vice, whatever it is. But if you start telling yourself and telling others that I am this, and he goes through all those examples. People who say, oh, I'm so bad with directions. Yeah. Or, oh, I'm always late. Like those are, what did you say earlier? Stories we tell ourselves.
Those are stories that you tell yourself. Yeah.
Right?
And then we're in charge of redefining those stories. And then words have power. We go back to the limbic brain, if you have your emotional side has a hard time putting things into word. And so you finally decide to put something into word, right? Into words, you gave it power, right? Mm-hmm. So just be very particular of the words that you decide, especially, it's very easy to have a slip up, right? Well, I'm the first one. Sometimes the filter isn't there. However, I'm trying to be very self-aware of the words I use to describe myself.
Yeah.
Because those are very powerful.
They are very powerful, and when, especially I think women can tend to be very derogatory to themselves to try to make sure that they remain looking humble or we really do have a hard time with many things about ourselves often, right? Like I know I jokingly used to say, like, if I was trying to squeeze around something at work, it's just my big butt. Okay, but unless I'm madly in love with my big butt like my husband is. But I knew where I was coming from with a sense of mindset with it. And it wasn't a positive thing to myself. Yeah. Right. And so what we say to ourselves is really powerful. And if you're always late, you could change your habits and not always be late. Because there are people who are never late. What do? They give themselves more time.
They're 15 minutes early.
Yep.
Because that's on time.
Yes. Right. Or someone trying to stop smoking, I'm not a smoker.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. To say something like that. And you started talking about the limbic brain. I know you're referring back to Start With Why. Uh-huh. And one of the things I love that James brings up, like he has his circle of why some habits you can't, like here it is, see the circles. And he talks about, the outside is the behaviors that you want to change, but the inside is your identity for the why, psychologically. So when people go to the root of why they want to change something and they want to change their identity for something for themselves, it's so powerful.
Yeah, it is. And it's absolutely true. I'm not going to go more into it now because Kristen hasn't read it yet. But there are other chapters that are really go more in depth about this. But it is huge. Identity, that's why I told you. This is one of the best books to talk about habits because it's just not a bunch of self-help fluff. It's self-help fluff.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Have another. It's tackling the root cause, and the root cause is yourself.
Yep.
Your identity and how you identify yourself to be is actually why you do the things you do. Again.
Yep.
And the habits you've decided to form.
Well, and this part that I read, it thought about my son, Ethan, and he was really some math was easy for him and other math really struggled. And he decided that he was going to watch YouTube videos and tutorials on the math that he wasn't understanding. He chose to work ahead in the class, and he's one of the only students in that class right now with 100. And doing well, Ethan. Right? So proud of you, Boo. But it was him, he was telling me this on the drive home after I picked him up from work one night. I'm just bawling. I was so proud, mommy moment, because when your child makes a decision to not be, I'm not good at math, he wasn't going to accept that. And I hadn't even gone over this with him. It was just his choice to his mindset. And he overcame something that was stressful and frustrating and something he didn't want to do. Math isn't, to the best of his knowledge and his vision of his future, right? It's a little more creative based, but he knows he needs it to graduate and, to qualify for scholarships and all sorts of things. He needs the grades. So he was going to figure it out.
That's a really good thing too, is that beyond that, the ambition.
Absolutely. To say I want to conquer something.
Yeah, and then the perseverance to do so. Congratulations, Mom. You're raising a winner.
Aw, thank you. Well, we have so much to be proud of with our boys. But I think what an amazing start to I guess last week was the start of December, but the start of the rest of December for us with this book. And we are going to take time. The next few podcasts, we'll dissect each section of it. He talks about, I think it's the cue, the craving, the response, and the reward is what it is. Yeah. So recognizing those cues, recognizing the craving, recognizing the response to all of that, and then the reward and how you can change habits by adjusting those. Yeah. So I am so excited to get into the next step of it because I'm there are things I know that I can do better myself. I'm not tech savvy. And I say that. I'm not good with technology. I joke. And at work, I hand iPads and things to my young ladies at work. I'm here, I need to change that because I can.
It's funny because sometimes it's not that you're not good with it. It's that it's an easy way. It's an easy out. Because you can get the other person to do it by gaining some sort of sympathy that you're not good at it. But in reality, it's you just had a hard stop and a boundary. You just didn't want to do it.
Yep.
So creatively finding a way of just saying, hey, guys, I need to be working on this versus this, and I see that you're really good at this. So I'm going to put my trust in you to do this.
Sure.
But that the thing is it's easier to say, like, I've done what you've done to my kids.
Yeah. What do I know how to type?
Yeah, I've done it.
Fix, please.
But it's like that. It's that part I told you about. It's like catching yourself doing it, saying like, no, I'm not bad at technology. I could figure it out.
Yep.
I don't want to figure it out.
But I can.
You already know it. So guess what? I'm going to leverage your knowledge and get it done quicker.
Be honest, right?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I think this was a really great book. And I'm so glad that we're starting kind of the reflection of who we are and who we want to be as we go into the new year as an individual, right? Yes, as a business, but as individuals. Yeah. So just thank you for introducing this book to me and to us. And thank you for joining us on this one, right?
I love it. I will tell you, there is one thing. So when we started talking about the books and the schedule of things, this one stood out. And there is one thing he said, and I don't remember where he said it, but there's one thing he said in this book. So I'm going to read you the quote. And I wrote this down years ago because it impacted me. But he went and he says, just as atoms are the building blocks of just as atoms are the building blocks of molecules, atomic habits are the building blocks of remarkable results. And it says, you do not rise to the level of your results. However, you can fall to the level of your systems. And we will be building more on systems later. But that part, impacted me because I was like, damn. Yes, it's so true.
Yeah. Well, amazing book, James. Thank you.
Yes.
Amazing bourbon. Thank you.
Amazing
Distillery. And amazing drinks. Yes.
Thank you, Habib.
All right, guys. Cheers. Thank you for joining us for this episode. And we'll see you next week as we dive deeper into Atomic Habits and enjoy more of this fabulous bourbon.
Yes. Grab a good book. Grab some booze. And burn some bras.
Right. Still working on that. Cheers.
Cheers.
I love it. All right. Good. She wants another one. Make a little sidecar for her to be able to top off over here.
Not to edit that out either, Kev. It's okay.
Actually, I think it's pretty funny. We'll see how he keeps the. I don't know. I love how you edit things, Kev. Thank you.
Can you see?
Smile.
We don't have to edit that one out either.
We just have this big light in our face. We couldn't see anybody. I wouldn't see Casper if he was there.
That's true.